Okay, this video will be for the ribbed neckline. So for this one, you're going to need the front and back bodice that say they are for the ribbed neckline and the back stay. We'll do both of these samples on this one set of fabric pieces. So cut one each, but these are on the fold so that you have a full neckline. The other pattern piece that you're going to need, that was the wrong one, is the ribbed neckline. So you're going to have this rectangle that is your ribbed neckline. The two bodice pieces can be cut out of your moderate fabric again. And then your ribbed neckline will get cut out of your ribbed fabric. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is put these two pieces together at the shoulders so that we can have a full neckline to work with. So I'm going to put these right sides together and just pin and stitch at my shoulders. If this was a complete garment, we would want to put that elastic in the shoulders. Since this is just a sample and we're not focused on the shoulders right now, I'm going to allow you to do it without the elastic so that we don't waste our materials. So you can just serge these together, but know that if this was a garment, you would need to put that elastic in each of the shoulders as you stitched them. Okay, so I'm going to head over to the serger and stitch both of those. While I'm over there, I'm also going to prep my neckband piece. I'm going to put that, fold that in half and match those two short edges together. And we're just going to serge up that short side. Okay, to prep this before we put our ribbed neckline on here, we need to mark our V point because this is a V-neck shirt. Our seam allowance on our pattern piece is 1/4 inch here at the neckline. So I'm going to use that measurement and I'm just going to mark where that point is going to be. And then we're going to take our shears and make a small snip in the fabric there. Forgot my shears on a different table. Okay, so just cutting through that one layer, not through my back, but I'm going to do a small snip right at that V, about halfway down. I don't want to cut all the way to the V because then I could easily have a hole in my garment there. So just do about halfway down. And so that preps our shirt. The next thing we're going to do is prep our little band. We need to open this up. This seam we're just going to push over to one side. And then we're going to fold this in half and press it in half. Okay, so now I've got that pressed in half. with the seam sitting on the inside. And I'm gonna start dividing that into 4 quadrants and marking it. So you can mark it with a disappearing ink pen or with sewing pins. But we're gonna mark halfway, so right on that seam, I'm gonna fold it and mark that other edge. And then I'm gonna fold it to where that mark is matching the seam and mark each end. So we end up with 4 quadrants. Okay, now I'm going to pin that onto my garment, and I'm going to match this seam up with one of the shoulder seams so it kind of gets hidden at the neckline. So open this up. And again, those shoulder seams get put over towards the back. And then I'm just going to match this up to one of those shoulder seams. And it doesn't matter which one, so just pick a shoulder. And then we're going to pin those markings to where they match up with center front, center back, and the other shoulder. So I've got one marking here that I'm going to match up with center front. Another marking at the other shoulder. And then finally center back. Okay, now we're going to take this over to our serger and we're going to serge that on. And as we serge, you'll see that our band is actually smaller than our neckline. That helps keep that band hugged to our skin when we put it on our body so that it doesn't kind of lose its shape and fan out from our body. So we're going to stretch that and get it to lay nice and flat, just enough to where the garment lays flat to the band as we serge. Okay, over at my serger, I'm going to start at that shoulder seam that does not have the extra bulk. So this one has the extra bulk of the seam. I'm going to go over to the other shoulder and start there. And again, we're going to get this all the way under our foot before we start so that the machine can help us hold everything together. And then as I stitch, I'm just going to stretch out that band so that it lays nice and flat to my neckline. When you get to center front, it'll just, that slit that we cut into the fabric will help your neckline kind of straighten out. Instead of being in that V shape, it'll straighten out into a line. So you can sew that band on. And then afterwards, I'll show you how we get that V point back. Okay, so there's the band sewn on. We're going to take this over to our ironing board and we're going to press it to where the band is sticking off the neck edge and the serging is just sticking down. Okay, the last step we have on this sample is to get that V back at the point, or the point back at our V neckline. So right here at center front, I'm going to turn my garment inside out so I can see the inside. And then we're going to fold this in half so the shoulders here are matching each other. And that'll give us a fold right on center front. Just like this. So this is the center front of my garment. And now we're going to stitch in a little diagonal. It'll be about 1/4 inch wide at the fold, and it'll go out to a point right before you get to that serge. Okay, so that little diagonal stitch is going to help bring our V point back. So now when we go to the outside of the garment, in the band, it'll look like a little seam, and then you'll have that nice pointy V at your center front. So that is the finished rib neck. Now we're going to use these same pieces to do our back neck stay.